Hello, my name is Sensei Alex Kakuyo, and I'm a teacher in the Bright Dawn Center of Oneness Buddhism. I'm also the author of the Buddhist blog, The Same Old Zen. Today I'll be discussing enlightenment. Specifically, I'll be discussing why we can't attain enlightenment and why we should practice Buddhism anyway. So if we read the Lankavatara Sutra, which is a very important text in Mahayana Buddhism, especially important in the Zen and Pure Land Buddhist traditions, we receive a teaching from the Buddha in which he explains the Dharmakaya, which is the storehouse consciousness or primordial consciousness of the world. It's sort of the essence of the mind itself before it becomes the mind. And the Dharmakaya is already enlightened. So naturally, everything that manifests from the Dharmakaya, people, rocks, trees, birds, etc., are also enlightened by extension. And because we're part of the Dharmakaya, that of course means that we're already enlightened. It also means that because birds, trees, rocks, etc. are also manifested from the Dharmakaya, and they're also enlightened, that we can learn Buddhism from them just like we can learn from a Buddhist teacher, which is why the sutras implore us to listen to the Dharma of the trees, of the birds, of the rocks, etc. So there are teachings all around us, if we're able and willing to pay attention. But if we're already enlightened, this begs the question, why do we need to practice Buddhism? And of course, if we're practicing because we want to attain enlightenment, then the practice is pointless, because we already have that. But if we're practicing because we want to learn how to manifest our enlightenment in daily life, how to behave in an enlightened manner, then the practice of Buddhism is very important. And that's why we have things like the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the Six Perfections, etc. These aren't random rules that were handed down to ruin our fun. They're guidelines that we use in order to hold ourselves accountable and ensure that we're manifesting our enlightenment in daily life. And by doing so, we end suffering both for ourselves and others. A good way to think of it would be a child, a human child, let's say they're 1 year old. Now, the child obviously is already a human being, but they have to learn how to behave like a human, how to talk, how to walk, how to use a fork and knife, how to drive. And as they receive this training from their parents and teachers, etc., then their humanity becomes more apparent. And it's the same with us. As we learn from our teachers and from other members of our Sangha, our enlightenment becomes more apparent in daily life. In the same way that a wave exists on the ocean, we're all individuals, but we're part of a much larger whole, and we're interconnected by that whole. The waves are connected by the ocean, we are connected by the Dharmakaya. The waves are made of water because the ocean's made of water, and we're enlightened because the Dharmakaya is enlightened. However, again, we must learn to manifest the enlightenment in daily life, and that's why we practice Buddhism. So that's the talk for today. I hope that was helpful. If you'd like to read the Lankavatara Sutra yourself, which I highly recommend, I'll post a link to a very good PDF of the text in the description below. Also, if you'd like to read my blog, The Same Old Zen, where I post articles on Buddhism and how it applies to daily life, you can do that by visiting sameoldzen.blogspot.com. And that, of course, will be in the description as well. So, if you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. And if you're on Twitter or Facebook, please don't forget to share or retweet. That way we continue learning together. So, that's the talk for today. I hope it was helpful. Amitabha. Until next time.